What's good, everybody? My name is Sid, and today I'm making a video on something I've gotten quite a few questions about, and that is my Instagram. I know a lot of you guys want to know how I edit my Instagram photos or the approach that I take, so today I thought I would make a video that explains my entire step-by-step process on how I go from shooting, what I look for, and how I edit my photos and the apps that I use. So let's get started. So number one, the first thing that I think a lot of you guys have heard about is a common Instagram theme, or if you're on Tumblr, it's known as an aesthetic. I like the word aesthetic. So my Instagram aesthetic is more based off of my approach to shooting, I guess, and the things that I look for when I'm taking a photo. But the goal of an aesthetic is to have a constant theme. So you can have a theme where like you have to have a photo with white backgrounds and then your subject is in the foreground. Or you take photos that are grungy looking, or you take photos that are vintage looking, or you take photos with just the fade filter on your iPhone and then you upload them that way. So that's what an aesthetic looks like. And if you go through an Instagram feed and the photos kind of look like they all flow together, normally that Instagram has what you call an aesthetic and or a theme. Some people use clothing for a theme, some people use objects for themes. It all depends on what your personal style is and what you want to do for your own Instagram. Number two, what do I use to take my photos? Now, sometimes I use my DSLR, which is the Canon 5D Mark III, and I will use that to take photos. Normally I like to use a 35 to a 50mm lens because it gives more of a filmy type look to the photo, or a film type perspective on a lot of film cameras. But recently, for convenience matters and just always having it on me, I like to use my iPhone. Normally, all my photos that have been taken on my Instagram have been on my iPhone or my previous Android Galaxy S6. So cell phones are what I use to take all my Instagram pictures, and it just kind of helps with the style and its convenience. Number three, what do I look for? So when I take an Instagram photo, I tend to look for three things. There's light, which is one of the big ones I like, contrast, which is another one, and color. I really love earthy tones and the way that they work on the filters with the apps that I use when I edit my Instagram photos. So those are the three things that I look for. Some people look for different things such as depth, perspectives, like they like different perspectives, or angles are a big thing for quite a few people, or just shapes in general, like a spiral staircase. Any of these things basically that will make a good composition in a photo or will make a good Instagram photo. Another thing on the note of what do I look for, if I see something that I like, I will have to probably stop to take the photo. It doesn't matter if I'm in a restaurant and my plate of food's on the table and I have to stand up on a chair to like get the photo in front of all these people. I don't care. If I like the photo, I'm going to get the photo. So that's another thing. When you're going to get a photo and you see a moment, don't be afraid to capture it. And before we get to editing, I have to talk about the apps that I use. So I use two different apps. My favorite one is ViscoCam. I use that for about all of the bulk work of my editing is with ViscoCam, and the other app that I use is called Afterlight, and Afterlight is good for, I really like the grain for Afterlight. I also use it for changing the tilt of the photo in case when I took the photo my phone was crooked or something like that and the photo didn't come out quite the way that I like it. But you can also do a few different things in there, which I will show you as well. And those things that you can do in these apps are all depending on your aesthetic. Afterlight may work better for some of the type of photos that you like to take, if you like grungy photos in my opinion, and ViscoCam will work a lot better if you're more about that modern film look and or just nice LA aesthetic, or if you have just an LA aesthetic in general. Alright, so let's get started on editing some of these Instagram photos. Alright guys, so here we are at my iPhone. We're just going to unlock this real quick, and as you can see, I have a photography folder right here. I like to keep all my apps and Instagram together, just makes it a little bit cleaner on your home screen. We're going to go right into ViscoCam, and one of the things that I love about ViscoCam is that it uploads your photos in rows of 3x3, so it kind of allows you to see what your photos look like next to each other. The only difference is that it has a black background instead of a white background, so it may look a little bit different next to each other when you upload them to Instagram, but I found that to be a really good thing because the white for my aesthetic brings all my photos together. As you can see, it also really helps you allow on how to plan your Instagram. Like I said, I still have this photo and this photo to upload, I believe, so it just allows you to plan your Instagram a lot better than you could if you didn't have an app like this. Okay, so here we are at one of my photos. One of the first things that I like to do is just click through all the filters to see if there's anything that I like. However, I do have my favorites. My favorites would actually be 4, a 7 and 8, C1, C6, C7, and C8. And then I also like F1, HB2, P, and P5. And M5 as well. Okay, so I think for this photo, I'm gonna use C1 because I really like the way it's gonna make the shadows really cool over here. Then I'm gonna go into the settings that you can edit, and the first thing in the settings that I love to do is just boost the contrast up by 2. As you can see, it adds a lot more clarity and sharpness. And then I like to go over to the temperature and bring it down a notch because I feel like the whites are a little bit too warm, and that just gives the photo an even better look in my opinion. And there's something about blue whites that I really, really love. Then we're gonna go over to fade, and I like to bring the fade up just a notch. And then in the shadows, one of the first things that I like to do is give the shadows, in this case, a red tone because it makes the blacks a little bit darker than me. And then we're gonna go into the highlights, and what I like to do is give the highlights a slightly orange tone. Actually, you know, I'm gonna give it only a +1 this time because when you give the highlights an orange tone, it really brings in some detail into the highlights, so that's what I like. But depending on what I'm shooting, like for example, if it's a sky out there, I'm gonna give it a blue tone, or if the shadows have a lot of green in them, I'm gonna give it a green tone to really exaggerate those greens. And that's how I edit this. That's how I would edit this Instagram photo, and I would leave it there. And then I'd come out of ViscoCam, and I would come into share. And then I would go to more, and I would go to open in, and then into afterlight. Now that I'm in afterlight, one thing that I really love about afterlight is the grain that it has. I would add, it really gives a nice fade to the photo and gives it grain. You can adjust the sliders right here. But I'm gonna leave this about 42, and another thing that you can do is, because I feel like those highlights are a little bit too bright, in Afterlight, when you select the highlights, it only selects that part of the photo. So you can bring that up or down accordingly. I'm just gonna bring it down too. And then I would come back over here, into other apps, and copy to ViscoCam. And it's gonna bring me right back to ViscoCam, and it's gonna pop my photo right in the front. And that's how I edit my Instagram photos, guys. Anyway, guys, I really hope you liked that short little video. It was a little bit weird for me filming my phone and like trying to talk at the same time. I've never done that before. So if you guys like this video, give me a big thumbs up. Be sure to share this video with all your friends and family on social media. Be sure to follow me on my social media, my Twitter, my Tumblr, and my Instagram. You can also follow me on Snapchat. All the links are in the description below. Also, be sure you really do follow my Instagram after you watch this video. I'll be with you guys for another video sometime next week. I hope you guys live, love, laugh, and stay fabulous.